Okay.
I got a request to keep you muted.
It's fine, mate. Everyone just wants to see me. That's where the money's at.
All right. So Albert, pretty interesting last few days in Australian Call of Duty. You might say Australian, New Zealand, APAC, whatever you want to call it these days.
Yep.
You released that video. A few pretty maybe controversial thoughts, maybe against what some people might want to hear about what you consider to be the truth about what some expectations are versus
Yep.
maybe what is the actual reality. Do
Mhm.
you want to expand a little bit more on, I guess, any questions that you've gotten today on Twitter or that you've talked with other people? What's some feedback that you've gotten from that video?
Let me go through and see what we got. I'm just gonna look at the replies.
We get a Riggs
Going
only
back.
stream. Sorry, Albert, you're getting kicked, mate.
I'm happy with that. Okay, let's go back. I got one from 0BM. Don't follow the COD scene much anymore, but you raised some really good points that can be attributed to any esport and articulated yourself well. He actually followed it up with like
You
3 replies.
articulate it
So.
so well.
He goes, I don't really understand why any org would pick up players for a one-time event. I'm not an owner, so take it with a grain of salt, but I don't see how you get any ROI on that. Like I heard, no organer would, only an idiot. That was my blunt reply. Other people were saying, it was a poor choice of camera angle, which was fine with me. It didn't bother me. I just wanted to get my message across. Let me just go through
So
quickly.
go back to that first comment, Albert. The first one.
Yep.
So investing, the expectation, I guess, from some people that they're going to pick up an org or find an investor to send them for one tournament. Why is that unrealistic? From your point of view.
It's not what you do. You invest for a future return. Picking up a team for one event is not going to get you anything, even if the guys place top 8 in the world. For argument's sake, and I'm going to throw the name out here of no, actually, I'll just make up my own name. Team Mousepad goes to
Oh, those
Team
guys.
Mousepad goes to a one event. They place top 8th in the world. Oh, Australian Team Mousepad plays top 8. Okay, yeah, that's great for the brand, but their team leaves after that. It means nothing. The investment is with the team. The investment is not with the brand. If you put all that money in and for what everyone is saying, the investment is for them to get better and more competitive. And obviously raise the bar. It's not worth 15 grand. It's really not. Go for it.
One thing I think that players, this misconception is where the money comes from in esports, right? We make a mistake of comparing ourselves to NA, comparing ourselves to Europe, but their teams have bigger budgets, right? And there's a reason why, because they've got bigger followers, and they may develop content. I mean, even look at the biggest teams in esports right now. Even in COD esports, you got your FaZe, you got your Optic, for example. You've got now Team Caliber. What are these guys built off? Where did they start off, and how did they make most of their money? It was through content development, right. And that gave them the freedom to build that brand that is successful. Now they're getting the investment. So many years after they're getting this investment. Now, if you're a sponsor, you're a partner, you're an investor, say you've got 200K right now, Albert, and you want to get involved in esports, what are you looking for? Like, why would you spend 15K? Dens?
If 15K, honestly, there's so much better you can spend that money. For me, if my team wanted to be sent to Dallas, to New Orleans, to play in the open bracket, to get no stream time and do no video content, which we saw from at least 2 out of 4 teams, if not 3 out of 4 teams that went over to Dallas, to Dallas, I'd rather spend that 15K on, let's get 4 of you nice new PCs that can stream. Let's get you some cameras. Let's and I'm going to get a year's worth of return instead of a weekend's worth of return that no one will see.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
So, again, people don't understand, like this 15K, or they say on Twitter, 15K is nothing for a serious org, right? That wants to spend that money. But the orgs gets the money from somewhere, right? We get it through selling stuff, which in Australia is not, it's very hard to get 15K from selling stuff, right? From merchandise, etc.
And not reliable income.
Exactly. It's not reliable. It's not a proper business scheme yet, anyway, unless you're really big and making thousands from apparel and all that. You're getting it from investors or you're getting it from sponsors, right? So us, for an example, we get Astro Gaming that wants to spend $15,000 to send the team somewhere. Then that $15,000 for them, again, is an investment in our brand, and then that $15,000 for us is an investment in our players. Now, Astro is still a business, right? They're spending that 15K not for player development because they don't really care about that, right? When they have their meetings, when they have their business plans for the next 12 months, 24 months. They're looking at increasing their revenue and actually making money from headsets, right? So they're investing that $15,000 in Mindfreak in the hope that we sell $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 worth of headsets in Australia for them. Now, what team, let's be honest, that's currently in the landscape, maybe apart from us, has that selling power? Not many, really, right? In COD anyway, right?
Yeah.
So like the players need to understand that money comes from somewhere, and you're not going to get that from one event, right? You're going to get that from putting, Mindfreak's a brand that's been built up 7 years. Now a lot of these players, right? Like you think of Buzzer, you think of Fighter, you think of Shocks, you think of Mindfreak, right? The way it is now. But you think of Hopi, you think of Zeppa, you think of all the other guys. Now it's starting to happen for SYF. Like people are starting to think of SYF and Eminence, and they want to throw all this away for one trip. Like I don't think it's right.
Yeah.
Like they need to build.
There was something.
Well, they need to build their brands, player brands. They need to build the brands for the teams as well.
Well, people need to realize that these budgets aren't activation budgets. If SYF gets, I have no idea what their numbers are, but let's say if SYF gets 15 grand a year from Turtle Beach, which I'm sure they probably get more or something like that. I have no idea again. They expect that budget to be spread over 12 months of 12 months of marketing for Turtle Beach and SYF, and to chuck it on one event, one activation is going to be a waste. They're going to go, okay, we got a lot of traction in January. What the hell happened the rest of the months? And they're going to see that as a misuse of budget, and they'll lose their sponsorship. That's essentially how big of a deal it is. It's not about sending your team. It's literally about you losing, your major partner over spending the budget where it really shouldn't have been spent. Just to keep some players happy that obviously, in my opinion, got a bit over greedy. And I said this in the video. I don't know if I said it in the video, actually, I said it on Twitter. 3 out of 4 of them won over 10 grand each in Black Ops 3. There was so much money being splashed around. Everyone's talking about investment. Why don't these players, if they really think they're going to get deep in this bracket, pay for themselves to go there? They made that money from COD. I mean, and we know for ourselves the amount of times our guys have dipped in their own pocket without even asking to do something, just because they appreciate what they do get, and they know what it takes to win. They don't ask to be helped to win. They'll just do whatever they can to win, and that's why they win. They'll do whatever it takes to win.
Well, we'll go back to the point that you made about a case study then. Like you said that on Twitter recently as well, that it's perhaps not worth a team like SYF or some of these other teams going to NOLA. It's not worth the investment. And of course, some idiots on Reddit taking it as you being scared because apparently they're going to take our GPL place, right? Nonsense. Tell people why you tweeted that and why you think it's not a good investment.
It's not a good investment, okay? So we obviously did it last year. Tainted were leading after Den's joined, picked up Excite. They had a lot of pro points ahead of us, and at that time it was very sneakily done. We had booked for Atlanta. No one kind of knew about it. Cody did tell Brownie, which ended up telling Lakey, who ended up telling Tainted, and they all ended up coming anyway. Chiefs and Tainted came, but we outplaced them. We caught up in pro points, got the win at Sydney, which put us ahead in pro points, and then knocked them out at Dallas, which confirmed our spot in the GPL. So we spent over $13,000 for that event. Over $13,000 on one event with no video content or anything. And what did we get out of it though? We got our pretty much set up to get in that GPL spot essentially, and basically get us over the line with a win at Sydney and get us into the GPL. So the money was well spent. It was invested to get the players into the GPL, which set up a lot of marketing for us over the years, set up a lot of deals that are now coming into effect for next year because we've had such a good run, so much marketing over the year. They've seen how good we did based on the 2016 budgets to 2017. Now our 2017 to 2018 budget is going to be a lot bigger because of the investment we put in beforehand.
Do you want to be honest with a lot of these guys? At that stage last year, this time last year, when the Dens left and the whole thing with GPL was happening, explain to the people how big of a risk that was for you spending that budget on sending the team there. Like what rough percentage would that have been of our total yearly budget?
At that point, it was probably 80% of the year's budget on one event.
Yeah.
Risked gambled, I guess. But for me, I felt like, it was worth the gamble. I mean, the juice was worth the squeeze. They got invites to the rest of the events after that. As you know, MLG pays for the top team to go over to all these things. Our 13K ended up being, maybe 40, 50 grand's worth of events, which ended up being worth it because we only had to send teams to Sydney 1, Sydney 2, and LCQ in the end. And obviously LCQ had a stipend. So we got the teams to champs as well. So we managed to do all right off the rest of that. Shout out to everyone that bought merchant as well. That really got us over the line. It was going pretty hard on it last year because it really made a difference after we smashed out a ton of the budget straight away. But it was big. That money didn't come out of sponsors' pocket. It came out of my pocket at the start, and then eventually came back as our budget came back. But it was worth it, and I'd do it again 100% of the time.
That's exactly right. So you spent 80% of the budget for one event, right? Huge risk, but you're very confident in the players getting the results to get them into GPL, right? And you've got obviously the top team in Australia, so you were very confident in those results. Now you're a second, third, fourth tier team. Like, how confident is the other org managers in their teams going over there and getting like a huge result that's going to get them into GPL stage 1? Not very confident, right? Like, it's a big ask to ask those teams going in there to go finish 4th, 3rd in the entire MLG.
And on top of that, we're talking about a team that I've been with and played with for 3, 4, 5 years, and that's the level of trust we have, and the level of trust that I know that they're obviously Den's left, but the other 3 at least, I know that they're not going to walk out on me after a bad event. I've just forked out all this money or whatever, and obviously the whole Cloud9 saga or whatnot. You can say however you want. The guys are still around. And they will be rewarded when the time comes, and we know that's coming more sooner than everyone will expect, I guess. They put in the hard yards and they will be rewarded, and I guess there's a lot of life friendships in our team compared to most teams. It's just, I just can't explain how rough the end and start of last year was. Shox even tweeted it today. It's like, was sitting there worrying about pro points for months on end. Are we going to make this league? We've been the best team for so long, and there's finally a global league, and we're not going to be in it. Like, what would that mean to the team and the guys to get to finally scrape over the line? How big that Sydney 1 victory was. I wasn't there, but I was in Hawaii at like freaking 4 a.m. watching it and seeing the reaction of the players. And then obviously making sure they locked it in at Dallas this year to being pretty much oh, we're set already. Three 2Ks in, they won them, they lost the next one. Have a massive result at Dallas in pro points margins. Win this week after being on the ropes against Cruz's team. Like, I literally tuned into that. And I was like, what the hell is going on? And from that point to winning pretty comfortably in the grand final, it's locked up. It's done. I don't care what anyone says. SYF, Dales, Taboo, whatever. They're not going to be coming top 3, top 4. Based off history, based off logic, based off any common sense. And I'm happy for them to go. Don't get me wrong. If you've got the money and you can send your teams and it won't make a big difference, send every team in Australia. I'm happy for that. But when you're asking an org that just spent 10 to 12 grand to send you to an event less than a month later, and you had an agreement, a prior agreement, and you kind of renege on that deal because you think you can get further. If you think you can get further, send yourself. If you're that confident in your ability, send yourself. Even send yourself and make a deal saying, if we come top 12, you'll reimburse us or something. I'm sure if you're telling this team you're going to come top 12, there's something in it. There's always a way. The worst way is to do it the way it was done. I was insulted myself personally. It wasn't even my org.
I feel like, and the thing is, like, we understand because you've been a player yourself, Albert. I've been a player. You've played internationally, so you can completely understand why players want to play there, right? It's the best thing as a player. You want to play in the world stage, right? But there's this disconnection between expectation and reality sometimes in Australia, and I think sometimes maybe the success of our team is also negative for the rest of the team because everyone sees our guys playing GPL and all these events and they want to do everything they can to get there, but they may not be quite ready yet, right? As players to get the results, but also the other teams in Australia aren't also ready to support that. Because people don't understand, without our guys earning the spot to these events by being the top seed, it would be very hard for us, even with the top team, to get the money and the budget, even with Astro, with G Fuel, with Scuff. It would be almost impossible for us to get the budget to send these guys to multiple events a year. That's the reality. And we took the risk of doing that at the start of this year with Infinite Warfare. And only now, we're really in discussions with our partners and with people in the community that's going to really up that. But it's taken that 12 months of investment plus 6 years that the brand's been here. You know what I mean? And the teams really need to understand, whether you would work with SYF, whether you work with Atletico, it's a joint thing, right? The org can't do it without the players, and the players can't do it without the org. And SYF for me look like the guys that would have been the perfect fit for that org. Eminence is I've got to give it to Eminence, man. That guy grinds content. He has work ethic, right? the other guys are really good guys. Like none of them seem really egotistical. They really want the best for themselves, and I can understand that they want to go to this event. And SYF are a really good org with good intentions and don't look like they may make false promises and do the wrong thing for the players. So it seems like a really good fit. The players just need to be patient and understand that SYF took a risk in sending them to this event, right? They got good results, but maybe not as much as they would have liked getting to pools. They need to be patient. You've still got a shitload to play for.
My big thing as well is, okay, let's say Kings, Tainted, Taboo, and SYF get sent to this event. Let's say Atletico, Kings, and SYF go, okay, we're going to send you this event, but we're not going to send you to another one for the rest of the year now. Argument's sake, you play this event. What do you have to look forward to for the rest of the whole game? You're in January. The game came out in November. 2 months of the game's lifespan, and potentially you might not play another MLG. We don't know about any Australian events yet, so I'm not going to count them. And you might not make champs. Are you going to play this game for 8 to 9 months on a whim of having no events, or would you rather thinking about March, April, May? You'll have an event locked in there. There's something to play for. If you burn yourself out so quick because you realize you're like, oh, what am I going to play for through to January? Oh, I can't wait till March. What are you going to do the rest of the year? We have nothing confirmed yet besides, the National League, which is online again. What are you really going to have to play for? You don't want to literally throw all your eggs in one early basket when there's teams like Rise, Evil Geniuses, Millennium, all those. There's a buttload of good teams still in that open bracket. It's not like last year. Getting out of opens last year was hard. I mean, like Epsilon and stuff were in there and other teams. But it's way harder this year. There's so many good teams.
There's so many good NA teams. It's ridiculous. The depth of talent, it's going to be very hard, I think, for any APAC team to really get out of it. And honestly, I think SYF, let's be honest, we're a little bit favoured by that third seed. Made it a little bit easier to get as far as they could. No doubt they learn a lot from that and get better. But the reality is the investment to go to NOLA, just so you can grow as players, the money's not there for Australian teams to do that. Right? It's just not there. You need to realise that as players. And what you should be looking at is the money's probably there. Maybe if you're serious about this national circuit and these online competitions, is get to the same city in Australia. We can be honest now. The first 3 2Ks, we took the risk of bringing our players, or 2 2Ks, sorry, of bringing our players to Sydney because we knew how important these 2Ks were to get results. And we brought them here and they got the results, and now that investment's paid off because we're obviously, even though ironically we won 2 2Ks online anyway, just playing from home.
We won the third one easier from home, go figure.
That's ridiculous. But it's the risk that we had to take, right? To get these guys in a position where they got GPL and the MLG places locked up. So look at doing this for the national circuit. Because there's opportunity, you win the national circuit, you get everything paid for to go overseas anyway. So go balls deep with that, because that is going to be an epic competition. Because the competition is so close between that 2nd to 6th.
Yeah, I think at least between 2nd to 6th, the competition is better than ever. I'm not going to outright say Mindfreak is light years ahead. We haven't seen a LAN, and that's where the true competition is. Based off Dallas, I guess, was the only LAN we've seen. Obviously, Mindfreak got a great placement, started in pools anyway. So you will say they're the best team, but we haven't seen that head-to-head LAN competition yet. Saying SYF is the 2nd best team from results of online and obviously the placement at Dallas, you can say yes. No one can prove that wrong. Head-to-head, different story, I guess. I think 2nd through to 5th, 6th is about the same. You got Taboo, SYF, Tainted, Kings, and Atletico. I think they all could beat each other on the same day. You could throw on, I guess, a raffle ticket into a hat and you pick it out, and I think that's who would win on the day at the moment. There is no real standout. Obviously, actually, I think I'm completely missing Deleted there, who are 6th. I feel like they're better on pro points. They're probably not the strongest. I don't think they could win an event with obviously taking Mindfreak out, but they're obviously up there. You've had Kings who have had these placements, the only team to knock out Mindfreak from a competition in Australia. But every time they get this close and just can't get to a grand final or something like that. So, Dells, Atletico, and SYF are your outright leaders. Tainted somewhere in the middle. I don't know where. I don't know why it's not working completely. We expected them to be the 2nd best team, I guess, going into this game. Except with Cody going away, it makes another superstar roster with Setsi, who's a contender. SYF had a pretty bad last year, and they're up there as a contender. we don't know what to think of this national circuit. And I'm really hoping it's streamed and properly streamed, kind of like it was last year for that Black Ops 3 circuit, because that was amazing to watch every night. I literally tuned in every week, so I thought it was great.
Like Tommy's saying in chat as well, but I don't know if you're reading, like people are complaining about the $1,000. Like, let me find the exact terminology.
Hey, wait, is it 1,000 per person? 'Cause I swear it was 1,000 total.
Is it really? If it's 1,000 per person, that'd be pretty sick. But anyway, like it's the main prize is the trip to MLG, like $10,000 plus, depending on where it is, obviously in America, and that is a huge prize. That's a huge opportunity for an Australian team.
If it is 1,000 per person, that's a complete different story. $4,000 is nothing to be shy of in an online competition. Like
Exactly.
that's massive. I didn't know that. I thought it was 1,000 per team.
I actually don't
That's a
know.
different story. Yeah, I've got no idea. So hopefully someone confirms that.
No, he
It's
said it's not 1,000 per person. But that's still like honestly, the trip is what for us, especially in APAC. Maybe if you're a European team,
Priceful.
maybe if you're a European team, like where it's a bit, and American where it's a bit more competitive, yeah, it sucks. But for us, the trip overseas, that experience is a big thing, and I think people neglect that. Like that's a really, especially like the travel from Australia is so expensive. So that's a really big prize, for us.
New Orleans is crazy for some reason. Like we clicked on, we were deciding who would be going out of myself and Reagan, and I was like, oh, I'll go look at the flights. I was like, Jesus.
That's crazy.
Did not expect that. Even Dallas was pretty expensive, and this is worse.
Yeah.
Looking at Anaheim, looking at Birmingham, you're looking at about $1,000 return. Pretty sure from what we saw. And you're looking at New Orleans is 2.5 minimum.
Save for that, man. Save for that.
And a 40-hour something flight isn't viable to save $600. It's like it's not worth $600. Definitely not. And you wouldn't do that to players. You don't want to send guys to play for the biggest tournament in their life, and you got 16-hour layover here, 4 stops here. You're gonna do something, do it right. Don't do it half-assed.
Like, question, Mr. Mia's got a question. He goes, Albert said you guys spent 80% in that one event. Was that before or after boot camps?
That one event, we had a 3-day boot camp in an Airbnb, which was like $500 a night. I let the guys pick it, so.
And that was ridiculous.
that was my fault. It was supposed to be the only one that said high internet. It was like an 8-bedroom place. I'm pretty sure they did a video tour, which they didn't need 8 bedrooms for 4 guys, and the internet wasn't even crash hot. They couldn't compete half the time anyway. So that was a bit of a bummer. They beat Tainted for the placement wise, so I didn't really care in the end. I just wanted to make sure they were happy, and they got what they wanted. I got what I wanted. We got our results, so everyone was happy.
And like that's 80% of the budget, right? So big risk again, like I said. But that budget that we get, like, let's be honest, like for players that perhaps aren't involved in the business sense, and we're perhaps not the best in the business sense because again we're ex-players and we hate that business side of things, right? We'd rather just focus on the players, but the reality is we obviously have to get involved in it. Well, for people that aren't involved in it out there, like when you're asking a certain dollar amount from sponsors, they're expecting a certain amount of return. Like I had a meeting today with a corporate. And they expressed if they put in a certain amount of money towards Mindfreak, they're expecting a 10 times return on it. So, for example, us as Mindfreak, if we ask for $100,000 from a sponsor, they're expecting within a couple of years of getting a $1 million return from that investment. Like, let's be honest. And this is our team, which is the most supported out of all the APAC teams. Like, how hard is it for another team in APAC to get that sort of budget? What other team is going to guarantee a 10 times return on that budget? Like, exactly. And teams got to understand that's where the money comes from. That's only $100,000. They want a 10 times return on that. So, and $10,000 when you break it up into MLG trips, like it can go very quickly, right?
I got 2 questions here I really want to cut into. Kata said, in your opinion, what teams excluding MF deserve to go to NOLA? I mean, deserve? If it all has the money and it's not going to break the budget, I guess everyone deserves to play an event that's a top Australian team. That's what we want, right? We want all the teams competing over there. Realistically, deserves. I mean, if you don't make pools, not pools, sorry. If you don't even make brackets, you probably don't deserve to go for the amount of money it costs for 15 grand. Even then, it's pretty rough if you don't place fairly decently. I mean, look, how many times we were on stream rigs and we were in pools? Maybe twice.
Yeah.
And we were casted not even once, or we were casted maybe the end of that game after the siren went off and we got knocked out by Echo Fox. We were casted for like 3 rounds probably, I think. And if we had spent 15 grand to get 3 rounds casted, was it worth it? No.
If we asked Astro for the 15 grand to foot that money for that trip, think about the exposure they get, right? They may get some photos, they may get some vlogs, because they didn't get a lot of stream time, right? It's lucky that we do so much outside of those particular events, right? That we give Astro a good return on investment. But think about how many other players and just teams in Australia that may not be associated with org don't do any content development, don't get the results, don't stream, don't do YouTube, whatever. So why would someone like Astro give an organization $15,000 to spend on an event on this team that is ranked 2nd to 6 or whatever, that's not developing anything, not giving them back anything? Like, they're not going to, right? We know this for a fact. It's good that SYF are. Like, they're really, I stepped it up content, like the guys like Eminence and all that. They're doing a lot of stuff on social media. So it was really good of them to land someone like Turtle Beach and put the money in to get the guys to the first event.
Yeah.
They didn't get the result to get them probably where they would have liked towards GPL. So the reality is that NOLA, looking on to NOLA, it's not a good investment.
Yeah, no, it's definitely. I mean, they could say they came so close, but still so far. There's a few questions here I definitely want to get into. Mr. Mayo said, do you believe boot camps are a good/bad investment, either Oz or for 2Ks or pre-tourney? I mean, the boot camp, we didn't really have a boot camp. We flew the guys to Sydney for the 2Ks. That was worth it. They qualified. When we had them over in Atlanta for the GPL, it wasn't a good investment, the boot camp. The guys were in each other's face a lot. Yeah, American teams wouldn't play them essentially because, you know, how the league worked. Teams had weeks off basically where they went on holidays or whatever before they played. The 2 American teams in our pool would basically, you know, verse the teams that are versing the weeks later, and the EU team was overseas, so we had no one to play but amateurs. So if we wanted amateur practice, we could get that at home. So it really didn't help. I guess that's all subjective to the team and the position you're in. You know, you can't really say it was good or bad until it was done, really. You know, you never know. Also,
like boot camps, people think they always. I see this on Twitter and Twitch all the time. Just send the Mindfreak over there more to boot camp and play against Americans, and they'll do better. But it's not as simple as that, like you touched on. Like, number one, like you said, American teams don't always want to play us because we're APAC or Australian, we're not respected enough. And number two, living there, like the guys, it's different than playing from home. Like where they play and then they go away and they're in their own little worlds with their own friends and family. But living together 24/7, how much shit did we have to hear from in our little team chat all the time? Because they're always in each other's face. So it's not always the best team environment. It's not always the best solution. And the ironic thing is we sent them over boot camp. They did well at GPL, the first one.
Yep.
And then we didn't send them over to boot camp. This one, they finished 9th to 12th. So like it's not always a guaranteed boot camp is going to be results. I just want to put that out there.
Yeah. Just want to chime in on, I guess, macro. How much do you choose to share with the players, and where do you draw the line? I think with us, there is literally they know everything about the org, but we are a unique scenario. The whole org is built, I guess, around the team. That's to be fair. And their happiness is our happiness essentially. So we run something by them. If they don't want to do something, it doesn't happen really. If they want to do something, we go that option, and at the end, you know, as long as they're happy, we're happy, I guess, and that's why they've stuck around. See ya, Tommy. Thanks for tuning in. What was I gonna say? Yeah, that's basically it.
We're in a very unique situation where we've known these guys since like 13, 14 years old, right? Like, so not only have they played with you, have they played for me now as well as you as a manager in a different role, but like we're friends, right? Like when we're at events, like it's not like we're a manager type of person where we're like, oh, like very business-like. We just joke around with them. We have like in-team jokes, memes. So we have a very unique relationship with the team.
Play Pokemon Go the whole time.
Like Albert is the most unserious person. Like we try to have Discord meetings or whatever, and he's just doing stupid shit. He's changing
people's names.
He's changing people's names. He's like playing Pokemon Go, not even listening. He's freaking like pasting freaking links to wrestling videos that just have nothing to do with the topic. Getting drunk. So we're lucky we have a unique relationship.
Inciting violence.
Inciting violence. You crazy person. But we're lucky to have that relationship. But the players know everything, Macro. The players know absolutely everything, and they're consulted about everything. Like we won't have a sponsor on board unless they approve of it, pretty much.
To go further on that point, we had an offer between two sponsors at one point, and one was for more money, but they didn't want to use that product, and we went for the less money one, just so they were happy. Money isn't everything, I guess, but it helps.
Danny from Melbourne's got a question for you as well.
Where am I not? Oh, far out! I didn't even see that. Why was an Oz team able to play so? Oh, I can't reply to that. It's not the increased competition because we have placed pretty decently at some of these events. Champs is definitely harder these years than it was before. But I mean, last year, so obviously this year for the game, I think the guys kind of just shit the bed on the day. My big thing was they didn't like the game. They didn't want to play it, and we knew that completely. You know, when we said, you know, do this, do that, and they were like, you know, they were kind of over it, and they had a couple of days to sulk about champs, and then basically, you know, they were just cracking jokes at their own expense. You know, calling the other MF team the main team, and they were team two. They got over it. They were overplaying the game. They didn't enjoy it. You go back to AW. They did enjoy AW at the start of it, actually. It got really horrible towards the end. I enjoyed that. The year before, we got pretty unlucky, I guess. We had Fab in our pool, who, you know, was supposed to be, you know, the third seeded team. Supposed to be, you know, we should beat the third seeded team. And at the time, ended up coming like fourth in the world at the World Championship. So they kind of, you know, shocked everyone and knocked us out early. We went toe to toe with Luminosity, who knocked out Optic as well, I'm pretty sure. So I think Cloud9 finally knocked him out. I think Luminosity beat him or something along the lines of that. I might be completely wrong. I probably am wrong.
What are your thoughts on the seeding then, Albert? Talking about that stuff. Like,
I mean, yeah. So we got seeded in last in our pool, besides the open team, obviously. Who, yeah, essentially we got seeded in last. We placed. I'm assuming and hoping to God that we get seeded third this time because we did technically come 9th to 12th, which is the third seed, in a pool. And if everything's being equal, we should be seeded that now. But I wouldn't be holding my breath anytime soon for that to happen.
APAC, put them on bottom. Who cares about those guys?
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. We don't have as good placings as NA and EU, but we have 1/10 of the population. So if we came top 12, and we have 1/10 of the population of NA, we have the equal amount of pro teams, really. If there's 10 of them there and we're in there, but that's pretty much an equal amount of good teams, really.
Well,
They've got 10 good teams, we've got one. That's equal.
4 out of 5 2Ks, and we've finished 9th, 12th at the only proper international event this year.
One round of top 8.
And one round of top 8. So what else can we do to get a third seeding? Like, pull whatever it is, C. Like, really? Like, win 5 2Ks and still not change anything? We want win everything we can and still get a decent placing in the only international event. I don't know what more they want. Bastards.
I don't know. And again, we have said this. They see the region, and when I say they, you know, I'm saying Activision, MLG, and that see the region as a one-team region. You watch hard points, you watch anything else. Mindfreak won again. Let's go to Europe.
Like all hard points and everything with TP. Oh yeah, Mindfreak won.
As much as you might think that's great for us, it's really not. I guess it downplays how good our team is for us to think, oh, everyone's just easy beats. You know, Mindfreak beat a couple Kangaroos and they got through. It's insulting to us to how good we are to say we just walk over everyone because everyone's shit, because that's not true. Our team is exceptionally good in a small region, and there are good players here. And until these players step up and just go that one further with us, we will always be put down there because they see everyone else is down there. It's not good for Mindfreak to be winning everything and everyone to be down here. As much as everyone thinks, oh yeah, you know, the Mindfreak loves it, we don't love it. It's bad for us. We need more competition. We need more teams doing well because it legitimizes what we're doing.
Definitely. Question: how do you see the future of APAC COD turning out?
Where have I missed this? How can I not see any?
Kata.
Where the hell am I looking at them?
Future of APAC COD. It's good.
Okay, there you go. You see the future of APAC COD turning out? Oof. This year is make or break, I think. We had a great year last year. Obviously not this title. I'm at Black Ops 3. You know, pretty much shit on every other esport in Australia, prize money wise. Maybe not league structure wise, but prize money wise. It was great. We got put down to bare bones this year, and it was rough, I guess. I guess we made hay while there was some hay to make, and everyone else got the shitter end of the stick being blunt. This year looks better as a global wise. They're trying to make it a global competition, which I really enjoy. I mean, they had that last year as well, but for us, that's great, I guess. Guys get more chances to play overseas, which makes them better in turn, but everyone else including us, needs to step it up. If this year is our make or break, we need to do more than going overseas and playing. We need to have more content. We need to have more viewers. And look, even our 2Ks, we're getting 400 people watching Cruise because Mindfreak almost gets knocked out. But then we get 200 in the grand final, you know. People need to support each other because if we don't, there will be no scene for us. There will be no support. I'm sure they'd love every reason to knock us out because, you know, everyone's trying to justify more spots to Europe or more spots to America and to clear us out of them. They'd probably love it. Let's give them every reason to keep us and to give us more involved, I guess.
Wait, so Albert, I'm an amateur player in Australian COD, and you're an organisation owner. Gold, mate. I'm gold now. So you're my organisation owner, and I'm playing for you, and you tell me that it's important to do content. Get lost, mate. Now, why is it?
Even if you beat Mindfreak at every event this year, you're going to go nowhere unless you do content. People think that winning comps or winning your freaking 2Ks or whatever, it literally means nothing. Great, I got a good image, you know, it's going to get good interactions because the guys won, that's great. But unless you're the best selling team or you're selling stuff, and this is where I'm going to give props to Avant for, they have no real standout teams, no real good teams. But the way they market, especially with Giles in his video and that, they're one of, if not the most successful orgs in Australia. And I'd go out on a limb and say that from an org that I didn't have much respect for 3 or 4 years ago. And basically they know how to market essentially. They know how to hit it out and hit home with their sponsors with their marketing. So if you're a player and you're not skilled enough to win, which is a lot of people, you'll never be winners. That's just the fact that not everyone can win. You want to still be successful in gaming, stream, YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever the hell you want to do, and smash it. Smash it consistently for a year, 2 years. If you're 16 or 17, I can't play in competitions. You're kidding yourself. You're in the best position ever. You can line yourself up in 2 years for when you're a pro. Everyone's gonna want you because of your brand.
Exactly.
I mean, if I was younger, I'd still be playing now. And to be honest, I'd probably have a much bigger following than any Australian player.
Well,
I still have a half decent following, and I haven't played for 3 years.
Well, here's an insight for somebody. We had our first ever call with G Fuel was with the CEO Cliff. Very first thing he asked me in the call was not what's your team won, what's your history, what are they competing, was what's their following on Twitch and YouTube. Very first thing. He didn't care about that we're the #1 team. We've won all these lands and all this stuff. Their first comment was Twitch and YouTube. And we see that with partners time and time again. And listen to us if you're an amateur or upcoming player. Listen to us because we're the guys that are sitting there talking to investors, talking to these sponsors, the guys that the money comes from. Like, right, we're not talking shit here. We're not talking out of our ass that we just want to see content for the sake of it. That's what their main focus is your ability to sell and what sort of following you have. They don't care about the results so much.
And people can keep saying, I know a lot of pros list, oh, what does getting 100 or 200 views mean on a video? Okay, it's 200. Next month it's 250. Next month it's 400. 2 years it's 5,000-10,000 every video.
Takes time.
Marketable.
Takes time. And
if everyone at SYF had 10 to 15,000 YouTube subs, I guarantee you Turtle Beach would be sending them to every event.
Exactly.
Not even SYF. Turtle Beach will want them at every event.
Yep.
And 10 to 15,000 might not sound a lot, but in a region of Australia, you know,
that's relative, right?
That's equivalent to 150, 200,000 in America.
And we understand because our players say it to us, right? How many times the guys turn around and said, "Who would watch us when they can just watch Optic?" It doesn't matter. Like, it's all relative. Don't compare yourself to NA. That community is a lot smaller.
There's a few questions we might speed run down here.
Go over it, mate. There's one by Mio.
Okay, I'm gonna wait. Which one are you talking about?
It was may I ask Rigz or Naked if you don't want to answer. Okay, why did Denzel leave?
I was gonna go to the one above that. What are the plans for MF in 2018?
I didn't see that.
I guess we don't like to always show our hand, but there's gonna be some expansion, I guess. I wouldn't even say step up. We're gonna be We're gonna be going from the lobby to the penthouse essentially. With the organization, it's gonna be a lot better. I guess that's why it might look a little quiet on a few different things, and I can't say much essentially, but it'll be better for everyone involved, players, management, and fans, and even the whole APAC COD is going to help.
I'm going to throw this out there.
Higher.
Like people, like again with our players, that like the COD team in particular, they have very, very high standards and expectations, right? So they finished 9th and 12th, and everyone's like, "Whoa, they had a great second day. That's really good for APAC." They came back and they were disappointed. The result. So like our long-term plan.
6 at champs and they were disappointed. They won 50 grand. I was like, "He's the most unhappy people ever to win money."
So like our long-term goal is honestly like is to legit win. Like we don't want to just be a Mindfreak APAC COD team that just goes and plays. Like we have a long-term goal, like 3, 4, 5 years, where we really want it to be a world champion team. Like especially with the current guys, I really feel like the one team and perhaps Australian esports in every title that actually has that chance of winning a major world championship. So that's our long-term goal.
Yeah, so Mr. Mayor, may I ask, if you don't want to answer that, why did Denz leave in the first place? I'll answer that straight away. He was offered a sum of money, and to 20-something-year-old zero compared to a sum of money is not as good, and he still thought he could beat the teams. So why not give it a crack?
Idiot.
Why did he leave in the? Assuming he had to buy out his contract again from TM, you would assume correct. And that affected you guys even more, though, right? Yes, but even though Den's left, and I guess he broke my heart. I always still had a soft spot for Dens. If I ever asked anything content-wise for him to do anything for me, it was never a no why. He would just do it. And I think he was shown something, and he didn't get that, and he obviously seen his mistake. And again, obviously with the Cloud9 situation, he stuck around again. So we've had a few chats since that point. I think that was my fault as well. I said this, and Riggs wasn't around back then. I was talking to him at the time, venting to him, I guess, but it wasn't really around as much, and I felt like it was a lot to do with my fault as well as both parties' faults. I was very, I guess Riggs can attest to this. I'm pretty lazy sometimes, and I'm just casually, and I didn't want pretty, yeah. I guess I was just happy with where we were, and Dens saw that tainted. They got a LoL team, they got a CS team, and we saw how that panned out or whatever. That doesn't matter anyway. He saw there was a lot of movement happening, and there was no movement with us, and he thought, yeah, if I don't get off the ship before it sinks, I'm gonna sink with the ship. And obviously, he got off the ship, and I picked him back up with his life jacket a little bit later.
Great analogy.
That's my great analogy. Yeah.
If you send Albert anything more than a paragraph like this, it will never get read because he's too
Mayo was three words off me not reading that paragraph.
That's so lucky.
Given the question. Do you feel like you could compete when you are, let's say, 16 plus would be a lot better for more teams to have a chance overseas? There's probably a shitload more better under 18 American players, so I don't feel like that's going to make any difference. I do feel like it's a pretty shitty situation for everyone under 18 because for me personally, I started playing when I was like 18, 19, so it didn't really matter to me. But most of the guys playing now, including everyone on Mindfreak, was playing when they were under 18. And they had competitions to play in, including LAN events. So it's very hard. If I had unlimited time in the day, I'd help, work on a scenario for that because I believe that's top 5 most important things to happen in COD in Australia. They need something for their under 18s, but I'm not the jack of all trades. I am trying to be the master of one. And until I can do enough, or until we can do enough for our COD team, everything else is, I guess, second. Someone else. I mean, there's plenty of room for other people to step up and take the crown. Just go do it. And obviously we're there to help if we can, as long as it doesn't take up 90% of our day. I'm just gonna run through some of these quick. How's the other MF teams doing? Great. Rainbow Six teams doing awesome. They've got an event in January that they've qualified to as the top ANZ team. And the Gears of War guys got back from Dallas just a week before the COD team went. They just missed out on pools, which I think they made it out of pools last time, which is, I think, pretty disappointing for them. But, they'll bounce back. It's hard to practice with. I'm literally pretty sure they had a LAN event which had 3 teams and 2 of them were fill-in teams. So it was pretty unfortunate to get not much prac. But, they'll bounce back. They're pretty good players.
And before anyone asks, no, we aren't close to picking up a Counter-Strike team. That's the usual question.
We're not looking at Counter-Strike. So even if there was one in the market, which there are plenty at the moment, it's not something yet. We're going to focus on what we have and do good with that. So basically, when I start streaming, making YouTube videos to play since I'm underage and I expose myself to the community, always want me to play for them. Yeah, if you do it, don't do it like I do it. Do it a lot more quality. I just do mine not to get views or anything. I do it because it's easier for me to talk for 6 minutes because I'm pretty good at talking. The trick is getting me to shut up, really. And I don't want to type 64 tweets. Well, that's a lie. I do want to type 64 tweets, but I'd rather just say it on a video. I was on a rant. I was at work. I was like, hey, I'm going to be back in 10 minutes. Did my video, uploaded it, and it was done. That's just how easy it was. I'm not trying to be a content creator. I'm just trying to educate, I guess. And those videos are great. I guess more people enjoyed it. I enjoyed the video, and it took me 10 minutes to do. Every COD player in Australia could do that.
Or put it this way, we had the Rainbow Six team we picked up, right? Where they had Aces as part of the team that has 12,000 YouTube subs, and he does content. His case for staying in the team is a lot stronger than some of the other guys. If it was like in between both of them, we'd obviously like prefer Aces, and he's a big selling point. Like, not only do we sell the Rainbow Six team, we sell his content. Like to sponsors, we try and like promote what he does. So if you're a young player, do content. And people like mistake this. You don't have to become a full-time content creator, but it's a means to an end, right? Do what you can because it's going to enable you to do what you love, and that's playing competitively. And look at the guys at Optic, like their content's nothing special, right? Most of it's just VODs or a scrim or something, or Scump just playing pub. Just do something. What do you got next, Albert?
Oh, I'm just reading. There's a lot of trash being talked,
Trash talk.
a lot of scenes that are very beneficial for our brand. You tell me which scene's beneficial for our brand. Again, I don't want to split up too much concentration. It's hard enough as it is. Being honest, I guess I majoritarily focus on COD. The other two teams, I see what they do, but I'm not really involved in everyday stuff. Mitch, Riggs, whoever else, it runs that mostly. My passion has mostly been COD. As much as I love the other guys, and I've met all of them from the Rainbow team. It's hard just to sort of span it out when all of us are working full time and doing this. But that might change one day. Look, we'd love to see you stream and make vids. The internet rights me doing so. Was an MF roster change discussed after IW champs? It really wasn't. No. We knew that this game was coming back to boots on the ground. It would suit Mitch. Everyone laughed when we dropped Cody for Dens, which had nothing to do with price of eggs in China. I guess we banked that Mitch would be good at this next game. He has been good. Mitch will never give you the results. Sorry, Mitch will never give you the MVP performance that's going to win him praise. But that's not what we expect from Mitch. That's what we expect from Den, Shocks, and Fighter, and that's why they're in the team. But what we get with Mitch is consistency, and that's why we're at the top. I guess we're the most consistent team. We're not out there to make a really good run at one event and break up in the next event. We're here for the long term, as Rick said. It's a long term plan. Looking around again.
Well, exactly. And like, it was ironic because a lot of people were saying that there's no loyalty in COD because of the Cody decision. But Mitch is a longer term player. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Marco, mate, you're not a team. Don't remember that. You're a one-man army.
David.
Who's David?
David Tipton's in chat.
Where is David Tipton?
Look at him. We got to get him on, mate.
I can see him now.
David, you got to pick up the controller. We'll get you and the old men of Mindfreak. Good timing for David to come in here. You missed all the talk about sponsors.
Those MF guys. It's the best meme going, eh?
I tell you what,
MF guy.
I reckon our Mindfreak staff team could probably have a good run. I reckon we could make national circuit.
Was it just me, Bundo?
Bundo, who the hell's that guy?
Who the fuck is that guy?
Who the fuck is that guy? Sorry, we swore. David. Oh, David doesn't matter anymore.
What's your advice for someone who wants to stream and make YouTube videos but doesn't have the internet speed to do so? Don't stream then, make YouTube videos and upload them overnight.
Do it overnight. You know what pisses me off, right? This is the thing about back in the day, Albert, when we had worse internet. How much content did APAC COD do?
I had a video out every second day, if not 2 a day.
And now everyone's got NBN, or everyone's even got ADSL. We didn't even have ADSL 2 back then, right? And then people did more content.
I had, those 2 cups, like the 2 bean cans, and then you put a string between them. That was my internet. I think it still is my internet, to be honest. Look at that thing. Look at that thing. With that one there, yeah.
Like, you don't need to release a 2-hour full HD documentary. A 5-minute video can take you a couple hours to upload. Just do it overnight. It's not rocket science, guys. Come on. Sorry, Fatal.
Obviously.
I'll tell you what, though. After having NBN, I don't know how I lived without NBN.
I had NBN for 6 months during Ghosts. Actually, I ended up Black Ops 2 and then Ghosts. And then I went back to this and then I decided to quit.
Oh, Marco's having a shot at the COD community in chat as well.
Tell him, Marco. You tell him.
I'm glad there's no swear words in there.
Is that really Marco? It's a fake
That's
account.
a fake. It's a troll. Yeah, back in the day when I had dial-up, and I used to, when I first started COD 4, it was actually on dial-up, and all I could do was noob tube because the bullets didn't register.
I remember. Was having dial up and hearing that, when you download it costs you money. And my friends were all playing RuneScape. And I was like, oh, I'll give it a crack. I put it on my dial up, la da da. And I walked about 10 centimeters on the screen. And then it come up to like a caching and, it's like downloading. I was like, fucking bang, disconnected it. I was expecting to get some like $100 charge if they'd kill me. I was like, fucking, that did not happen. I was shitting bricks, but nothing ever happened.
All right, so anything you want to touch on before we finish? NOLA's coming up. Obviously, we talked about that. Obviously, we're going to be there. So it's exciting for the team. What are you expecting from the team, I guess, this time around?
I'm expecting a top 2 placement. So when SYF come third, we lock in the GPL spot. No, honestly, sky's the limit. I think they had a shocking Friday or Saturday first day essentially. For their standard, we know Mitch was a little bit sick. We're not going to chuck in any excuses. They ended up with 9th to 12th. Could have easily got 8th with one more S&D round in the bag. So I'm expecting any improvement is that's it. We don't expect them to win events. We don't expect anything of them. I guess we just let them do what they do, and that's what they get it done. We're just going to be there. If they need anything, they need water, they need a new 4th player. If they don't want Mitch in the team and I'm there, that's what's going to happen, I guess.
You heard it here first, guys.
That's it.
So NOLA's coming up. We got, what's after NOLA? Is it Anaheim? No, Atlanta.
Atlanta, NOLA, Birmingham. Then we got Anaheim, is it?
When does the actual National League circuit start? Does that start when GPL starts?
The National League starts at end of January/February. So after NOLA, you got like 2 weeks.
Okay, that's
Every time I hear NOLA, by the way, I just think of Yoshi, Nolan.
Yeah, me too.
It's just that my phone autocorrects the Nolan.
Should be new. Oh, what's the NOLA? That doesn't make sense.
New.
Oh, we got a Dens in chat. We got the Dens emotes happening.
Let me see, mate. Let me see. And woman's needed.
Dens, mate, you better be following me.
Okay.
All right.
We probably stayed our welcome. Overstayed our welcome.
Yeah, now we're just talking shit.
That's it.
I'll show you.
Anything
you want to say before we finito?
I guess. How do I say it? I think all this stuff blew up more than expected to be. It all started from me replying to. If I didn't reply to Reef, probably saying what I did, no one would have noticed anything, and that wasn't my intention to call them out or anything. But I just, for myself, I thought it was a bad look. And I guess, I'm kind of friends with the SYF guys. So for me, I just felt like, they needed someone else to say it to their players because maybe they were too scared of losing the team. And as Macro said, they're the best team that's ever played under them, talking to them in that wise, which is fair enough. But people can always go astray, I guess, and they can't see it until someone tells them, You can tell someone, oh, what you're doing is bad, and they have to, go down the bad route before they realize what they were doing was bad. And I feel like maybe if I chimed in, it might have helped. And maybe it did, maybe it didn't. I think the Atletico scenario is very different to the SYF scenario, so it's 2 different scenarios completely. Oh yeah, that was it. I didn't want to start any shit for any orgs or for any players or anything. I just think it was a very big misunderstanding and maybe oversight. And to me, which again, I said it wasn't my org and not my team.
Once again, inciting violence.
And I felt insulted, so I thought I'd start a bit of violence. Pokemon Go was drying up. There was no Pikachus around. I thought, you know what? I'll piss someone off today.
Well, I think you had your say, so it's pretty good. Good video. If you haven't seen Alvin's video yet, check out his YouTube channel. What's the YouTube channel again? Nakeezy.
I don't know. It was my 3rd one. I think it's Nakeezy COD with 3 A's.
Nakeezy COD. I'll link it in chat.
I'm sure like that.
There's also some tips and tricks there how to make billions on Bitcoin.
My clickbait titles. Shout out to Censor or whoever else who does that. I don't know. I remember Shock seeing it once, replying to Censor, and then Censor deleted his tweet or whatever. So it was pretty funny. So I thought I'd start using those titles. They'll stick around for probably another month, and they'll get dry, and I'll go back to
There's a last question by me if you want to answer it.
Yeah, which
Before we
one
go.
is it? Back on the topic of content, I get you guys have your brand and all, but why don't you guys personally help upcoming streamers? If you do already, I haven't seen it. As I said before, man, the same with like the under 18 comps and everything. You know, it's great if I can help out in any way I can. Yes, but until my team is completely in a position where they are 100% happy, and as they are, they're happy, but they could always be happier, and that's everyone essentially. There's a better thing to happen.
Yeah.
There's always improvement to happen. Until they're at that point, I'm not going to stop taking my focus off the teams we have, and spread it out everywhere else. To me, to have 7 shitty operations instead of 3 really good ones.
Like you said, like Albert said, there's so many things that we want to do for this community, for this scene, and we love Call of Duty. We love this community. We love this scene. Obviously, our team always takes priority. It's hard for us to do it all because Albert works, I work. You know, we're not in a position yet where we do this full time. Maybe that's going to change in the future. We'll keep giving back as much as we can, guys. I really appreciate that you guys buy our merchandise, that you guys watch our streams, watch our content, and always support the guys when they go overseas. So, appreciate it. And I think that's about it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for following. I'll try and rip the VOD off as well and chuck it up on YouTube. Thanks for everyone, for Tipton, the tuning in. Tommy as well, what a legend. And Marco, please keep the swearing down in your own streams. Thanks, mate.
And Dance.
And Dens. Thanks, Dens.
And everyone that asked the questions. Hopefully we get together more or less. This is probably the first time I've turned on my computer in like 2 weeks, I reckon.
Yeah, literally, Albert hasn't been on for a while. But we didn't really like plan much for this. We just thought we'd just come on and talk shit. So we might do it a bit more often now that I got, because we were always used to relying on someone else to stream it for us. But now that I got internet, we're just gonna do it and just talk shit. This is the real trash talk.
Alright, guys.
Thanks, guys.
It's been real. Have a good Christmas and New
Yeah,
Year's.
mate. You too.